Welcome to the report from Tiger Mountain. We're going to talk about the new hate speech laws tonight. Yes, obviously, these laws could affect this show. You know what I mean? Exactly how are they going to apply this kind of thing? You know what I mean? How are they going to apply? I mean, I spoke to Sam Newman about it. I mean, obviously, there are things that Sam Newman has said on his show that could technically be considered hate speech. You know what I mean? It's like they're trying to bring in, a UK-style laws. It seems like the original draft of the bill was a lot more draconian and was similar to the UK version, but it did get watered down at least a bit, and it was more for groups. So if the government classes you in the group, whether that be a radical Muslim group or a radical far-right group, if they consider you part of that, then they can attack your speech. And it seems like they are the people they're going to be targeting. So that means it won't be affecting normal citizens who do podcasts like Sam Newman or myself or Michael Gray Griffith or a number of other people like Joel Jamal or whoever else. But this is a real terrible situation. When you can't talk about the problems in the world, you can't think, essentially. We've never had a First Amendment in this country guaranteeing its freedom of speech, but there has been a lot of freedom of speech in Australia. You have been able to pretty much say what you like, which has been a good thing. It's one of the great things about this country. And we've seen that collapse in the United Kingdom under Keir Starmer. We're seeing people getting arrested for criticising immigration, for saying something against a trans person. But there was this case where somebody used the P word to describe a homosexual person, and apparently just used the P word on somebody, and they're being arrested. I don't even know, can you even say that now? I don't know under this new legislation. And it's crazy and selective, And Michael Gray Griffiths posted something interesting on Cafe Lockdown where he showed like this white, left-wing protester. He was like either, protesting for Palestine or Aborigines. And he was like, celebrating, that the white people will be replaced or, exterminated or something. It was clearly hate speech what he was saying, but he's never going to be arrested, is he? Because that's what all the left-wingers say. So it's obviously going to be a two-tier system, but it doesn't seem to be as quiet as draconian, what's been brought in, and it does just seem to focus on groups. And you've got One Nation saying, well, it should focus on the group that committed the terror attack, which is radical Islam, which is, of course, true. So, I don't know, but it's a very dangerous situation. And obviously I'm completely against it. And it does force I'll be honest with you. When I first heard about this legislation, I thought that's the end of this show. There wasn't going to be any more episodes. But because they dropped it for individuals, it appears like, these individual podcasts can continue that criticize immigration, that push, a nationalist agenda like the one I do on this show. So, otherwise we would almost have to enter, I guess, what you call inner exile, which is where, you have your opinions, but you don't tell anyone about them, or you just tell people in private conversations, and it goes underground. But that's the only way. And the only thing, I don't know, for groups like the National Socialist Network or whatever, obviously that group disbanded. I have no idea what they're going to do now. But all I would say to a group like that is they should rebrand themselves as something like a white advocate. Because you have like Jewish advocacy groups, you have different advocacy groups, that their mandate is not to be supremacist, but to advocate for that particular group, whether it be Jews or Asians or whatever. I could see a group like that rebranding themselves as an advocacy group, as a European Anglo-Saxon heritage advocacy group. I think that would still be within the law, and you could probably get away with that. And that would be, the only, I think, way for groups like this to continue under this ridiculous new legislation, which, let's be honest, it probably was a false flag. I don't know exactly how they do these things, but they have, I'm sure the Muslims are fooled and they're told to do this and that by, I don't know, CIA, Mossad, it could even be ASIO. It was a very suspicious event with a lot of weird things going on, but we don't need to go into that. But, we're living under this now. It's a slippery slope. It's heading towards the surveillance state, and we're heading towards the disaster that we see in the UK, and I think it's terrible. So, I mean, if it gets worse, this will be the end of this podcast. I'll tell you that much. But for now, it seems like we'll survive, and we'll just have to see what happens from here. But it's a very dire situation, in my opinion. And these hate speech laws should be gotten rid of completely. All hate speech laws are nonsense because, you know, what somebody considers hate. I mean, can you imagine if the right wing were deciding what's considered hate? We'd basically say everything the left wing says. We know, oh, that's hate, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's really just about targeting your political enemies. It's Stalinist, it's Maoist. So that's why we've got to reject it, ladies and gentlemen, and that's why we do here at the Report from Tiger Mountain. It's good to see Pauline Hanson and One Nation rejecting it because we should be right behind that. Thank you for listening.